Let's chat about liability, especially in the society that we live in, right? I mean, people sue for any and everything. Ambulance chasing lawyers get rich off it every day. So, what do we do to limit our liability and exposure? It's really an ongoing constant because every day we're at a job, right? Every day we're exposed to accidents and liability. So it is a constant, always on our mind, always aware of it, and always trying to mitigate that risk. Because I can tell you, just general liability insurance in itself, and we're a small contractor, that's $4,000 a month. Keep in mind that's no claims, clean slate, good record, $4,000 a month just in general liability. Doesn't count comp, that doesn't count auto or the umbrella. So it is insanely expensive, and having a good record helps keep our rate lower, if you will, which is still a crazy price. But, for us to be competitive in the marketplace, we have to get the best rates as possible, because those rates, just like any cost in a business, those channel down to the consumer. So our monthly carry, just for the general liability, that's divided into jobs and spread throughout and covered, because each job, again, has its own risk. And so based on that is the percentage of that monthly carry allotted to that job. So how we help try to mitigate the risk and exposure, we have, for one, every day there's what we call a tailgate meeting on the job site. So we have a binder, a job site binder, and that has a sign-in sheet for each person on site that day. Company, if it's a subcontractor, what company they're with, what work they're performing, time in and time out. And that's really just so we could help track that portion. But so that's filled out. We have our tailgate meetings where we identify potential hazards for the day and whatever tasks are being performed. So we identify any hazards there, highlight them. That way we can talk about how to avoid that. Instead of, waiting till the accident happens, let's try to get in front of it, potentially eliminate that hazard. So we're going into winter months. I guess we're in fall right now. I don't see the leaves coming down, but we are in fall. And job site conditions change, right? In the summertime, we have frequent water breaks, rest periods, anytime it's over a certain degree. That way we don't have anyone with heat exhaustion or worse. So that's one way, shade structure for the guys to sit, take a break, rehydrate, and get back to it. Summertime, you start early, you end early. We account in the bids really for the slowing down, because we don't get as much productivity when it reaches, 100, 110 degrees. Productivity slows down. Similarly does that in the winter time, but it's because of mostly weather. Now we're fortunate where we are here in California that our winters are pretty mild, so we don't have snow delays and ice overs and things like that. But we do get rain, we do get fog, and it does get cold. Those also affect job site performance and output. And so we have to account for that in a few ways, right? We have, if it's close to freezing cold and it's, raining, everyone just wants a warm cup of coffee and to hang out. So production goes down in that way. And where we are, we also have the fog. So we have to account for either going to a job later when the fog clears up, or the extra drive time because we're driving slower. And it might sound like something small, but if you add that up for, let's just say, 2 guys in one truck for a 3-month job, that's hundreds and hundreds of labor hours that are lost just for drive time. So I think that's a great example to help paint a picture on how much that can affect the job's duration and potential extension of time, accounting for that in your bidding and your costs. Because if that's, let's say it's 200 hours, then that's 200 hours that are not worked on the job that are spent behind the wheel driving. The other side of that is, what if you had 100 travel hours and now you're at 200? Guess what else goes up? The risk. Because you've just doubled your drive time for the guys. And the more time on the road, the more risk is out there, right? Every mile you drive, technically speaking, is another mile of risk. And so if we're going from 100 driving hours to 200 driving hours, we've just doubled our risk on that job. So that's pretty much the way that my brain thinks. And so we take all of that and put it into the bid and really try to crunch the numbers and dial things into a science so that we're confident in knowing that at the end of this job, we're going to maintain our profit margin that we set out to from day one. It kind of creates a negative mindset because you're always thinking about negative things, right? What can happen? What if this happens? Where's the hazards at? So you're always in this certain thought process of, I'll just call it negative because it is, instead of looking at all the positive things on the job sites, you're trying to identify and eliminate the opposite of the positives. And it's something that has to be done though, because one, we don't want anyone getting injured on a job site. Two, it helps keep those rates, on the lower end. You have a bunch of claims, just like, your car insurance, it's going to shoot your rates through the roof. And it can really take out that competitive edge when it comes time to bidding because you have such a huge insurance rate that you have to carry on each job. It really puts a damper on everything. So with the job site binder, the tailgate meetings, making sure everyone is wearing their personal protective equipment on the job at all times so that if something does happen, they're protected. Those are probably the bigger items and ways that we help to minimize and or eliminate any hazards, and that's really what keeps everyone safe on the job sites. Again, last thing we want is anyone being injured. So let's talk about the winter months and possible material delays. Something to think about, right? Because if you have material that's back east where they get, 10 feet of snow and it has to be trucked over here, how long is it going to take you to get that material? A long time. And I can tell you that from experience because last winter we had, you guys probably saw the video, a shit ton of hardwood flooring coming in, and that was coming from, I think it was Wisconsin if I remember right, during the winter months. And we were delayed, I think it was an additional 2 or 3 weeks on that delivery because weather issues primarily, and the route that the driver had to take was not just the straight shot across. I guess he had to do some crazy navigating around some extreme weather patterns to get it over here to California. So that's one example on it. But if you're planning on doing good sized project that's during the winter months, keep that in mind because you might think it's going to take you a week to get, a certain item, and it might take you 4 weeks to get it, and that's really going to screw up your schedule and your timing. So definitely do your homework. Make sure that you'll be able to get it when you plan on getting it, and if you're able to, just order it well in advance. Get it here now, store it on site, and then you don't have to worry about weather patterns or delays. Keep that in mind. Hey guys, if you got value out of this content, if you learned something, if you thought about something you didn't before, please like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate it. Thank you.